This book, Remote, will remind you of the premise that you don't have to be at work to do work. And so what these authors have done, who head up a company called 37 Signals out of Chicago, and they have also authored a best-selling book called Rework that we did at the First Friday Book Synopsis last year. They have written a book which basically tells you how to do this, what it's all about to get work done without being in an office. And if you look on your presentation outline, you'll see a header that says why the book is worth our time. And undoubtedly, we have had the technology to work remote for many years. It's never been easier to communicate and collaborate with others anywhere at any time, but it still leaves a fundamental people problem. The missing upgrade is for the human mind. This book aims to provide that upgrade. And then contrary to what people think about remote work, if you look on the next part of that, it says that it's not all or nothing. It doesn't mean you can't have an office, just that it's not required. It doesn't mean that everyone that works with you cannot live in the same city. It's just that they don't have to. And what this is all about is freeing up the way that you do work where it can be the best it can be, wherever that may be. So I'm going to focus this on what the authors say about three things. One is the culture of an organization that works remotely. And then as you look under the organization of the book, I'd like to give you what are in the last two chapters, which is how you manage remote workers and how you can maximize your working life as a remote worker as well. We always begin with some key quotes, and if you look at the top of page 2, I'd like to pull a couple of these out to give you the flavor of what the authors say in their book. Skip down about 5. It says, imagine what you could do with 400 extra hours a year spent commuting. Commuting isn't just bad for you, your relationships, and the environment. It's bad for business, and it doesn't have to be that way. Next, a company that is efficiently built around remote work doesn't even have to have a set schedule. This is especially important when it comes to creative work. If you can't get into the zone, there's rarely much that can force you into it. And then next, release yourself from the 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. mentality. It might take a bit of time and practice to get the hang of working asynchronously with your team, but soon you'll see that it's the work, not the clock, that matters. Next, the new luxury is to shed the shackles of deferred living, to pursue your passions now while you're still working. What's the point in wasting time daydreaming about how great it'll be when you finally quit? The new luxury is the luxury of freedom and time. Once you've had a taste of that life, no corner office or fancy chef will be able to drag you back. Skip 1. Your company may already be working remotely without you even knowing it. Worth counting too is the number of days you spend at the office emailing someone who sits only 3 desks away. People go to the office all the time and act as though they're working remotely, emailing, instant messaging, scheduling themselves to get work done. At the end of the day, was it really worth coming to the office for it? The other two things I want to point out to you in the book here are what they talk about what you could do from a perspective of called a remote toolbox. And if you have not seen some of these tools that are available to you from a technology standpoint, and many of these are simply free, I'd encourage you to look some of these up. From full disclosure to the authors, Basecamp is their own product. But it's worth looking at some of these if you've never seen some of these tools that really allow you to be very productive remotely. And then finally, for people who are scared of the technology and hacking and all these sorts of things that people get worried about, I've reproduced their list of how you do remote office security. And y'all, when I finished typing this list, I was even scared, so I'm just telling you that this is a pretty good list here for making sure if you are working remote that you're doing fine and nobody is stealing company secrets or your passwords and all those sorts of things. It's a different, a fresh kind of look at working remotely. Remote, office not required. I hope you enjoyed that synopsis of this book.